Welcome, everyone, to another podcast. And you would not believe this. We have Sarah Jillian, who's a versatile actress and producer celebrated for her dynamic performances and creative contributions to the entertainment industry. Now, you may not know her, but she began her acting journey at the age of 9, debuting on a CBC radio program, and has since built a remarkable career in film, television, and music. Sarah has trained extensively in acting, photography, and movement, honing her craft at Maggie Bassett Studios in Toronto. In addition to her acting career, Sarah is the lead vocalist of the rock band Alien Fiancé. And also, we have another member, special guest here. You want to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Paul. Hi, also known as Otis Piotis in previous bands for many, many years, and
That
now
is
the
that is
part
awesome.
of Sarah in our new band, Alien Fiancé.
And So Sarah, who's the lead vocalist of the rock band Alien Fiancé, showcasing her artistic range, she has been recognized with nominations for Inspirational Women of the Year and the Face of Horror Award. Huh? Huh? Who's that? Highlighted. It's highlighting her impact both on and off the screen. Sarah is passionate about nature, animals, and fitness, and enjoys activities like yoga, swimming, and aerobics. And her favorite movie is, same as mine, Titanic. And she has a deep appreciation for Italian design and Japanese cuisine. Now, list of list of filmography is Sarah's notable works. The characters she portrayed, such as Desert Fiends, played a newscaster. Skate to Hell portrayed a vlogger. Friday the 13th Blood Loss, which is just this year, she played herself, Sarah Jillian. You get killed in that one?
Well, not in Friday the 13th. And actually, Paul was in Friday the 13th with me as well. And he was the newscaster interviewing me. So that was kind of fun.
Sarah was also in Rebel Bikers vs. Vampires and Venus, which is upcoming. Television, she's been in the Arthur Steinberg and also Steinberg Rides Again. And producer credits. Ooh, Jackie of all trades. She's Attack of the Corn Zombies, assistant producer. Desert Fiends, assistant producer. And you're not going to believe this, but Sarah has written several books. A series called Did I Really Dream Last Night, written under her pen name Sarah Palashi, which you can find on Amazon and Kindle, many different sites, Barnes and Noble. And she's currently working on another series of children's books called The Prince from the Beach. Welcome to the show, Sarah. So great to
Well,
meet you and finally able to speak to you.
nice to talk to you as well. Nice
Um,
to be here.
Before we talk about Alien Fiance, which is, I guess before you got married to him, he was alien.
Yeah,
I was the alien.
Oh, you're the.
I was the alien fiance. Yeah, absolutely. I moved here from Canada and I moved to the United States.
Can I ask you what inspired you to pursue a career in acting at such a young age?
You know, I honestly didn't really want to be an actress because my mother was an actress. I wanted to be a ballerina, but my mother didn't allow me to go off to ballet school because it meant that I would have to go and sleep over. And I was only like 4 years old when I wanted to get into the entertainment world. So she said, you could be an actress. That's what you could do. And you can go and stay with grandma and she'll take you to the classes. So I thought, okay, fine, I'll do that. And I was about 6. And so I started lessons with Josephine Barrington at Josephine Barrington's Acting Academy in Toronto, and it was located in Hazelton Lanes. It was on Yorkville Avenue in the Haliconian Club, and I would go there. And she was the toughest, nastiest old English actress, and she'd actually taught my mother, and so she was very strict and old-fashioned. And I got into it, and I loved it, but I also didn't like it. So there was like sort of, I had reservations, but why I got into it, I've always had that sort of feeling inside that I wanted to entertain, I guess.
How do you prepare for roles that are vastly different from your own personality?
Well, I think that when you're asked to do something that is not really you, um, you have to be really inventive, I suppose. And I have a very large imagination. And I think you just have to go with it. You just have to go with your imagination and imagine, putting yourself into that person, that role.
If the role asked you to cry, how do you go about doing that?
Well, you have to find that part of you that feels that. I mean, I'm very emotionally sensitive.
He cries every day.
I cry every day. I could I could cry on a dime. You could make me cry now. I think my emotions are very surface. They're very on up here, and so I just tap into them.
So, can you share a memorable moment from the set of Friday the 13th Blood Loss? Like, what was your mindset when you were in that movie?
Well, that was a character that I was just being myself. I was asked in that role to just be an influencer. So I had to be a bit of a snotty type, influencer type. And so that was kind of fun because I'm not really a good influencer, I don't think. I just do my thing. And if people like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. I don't really have it like 10,000 million followers on things. And so, but I had to pretend that I was that big person. So
Uh,
I did.
so, what was the most challenging role you've ever played and why?
For myself, I think, I was a professional clown. And I think the hardest role for me, honestly, was I was asked as a professional clown to go into a hospital and go to where a baby was born and invent a song that would cheer up the mother. And that I didn't know exactly what to do because I was given no guidance. Just take some balloons and go to the hospital and be at this room. So I really didn't even know what I was walking into, and I think I was so unprepared, and it was a challenge. That was the biggest challenge I think I've ever faced without any direction whatsoever. I did
Yeah.
come up with the song,
So,
and the song
that's
was
interesting
I
that.
just made something up. I was just it was just I was like, happy baby, it's like just a silly little thing. And they were just staring at me like, why are you here? I actually was a clown for a long time. I did a lot of, and
Oh,
I
wow.
started a clown business in Toronto. I had 10 clowns that worked for me. So I employed 10 people and had them doing promotional work for me as a clown. And I put their makeup on. We would meet and I would put their makeup on and I would give them their outfits and I would tell them, exactly where they were going and what they were doing. And I would meet them for lunch and then I would meet them after work. And then, sometimes we got together after work. But, I was the clown boss. I was a clown of a boss.
Mind me asking, how
A
long
long
ago
time
was this?
ago. It was like 90s,
Oh,
when I was younger.
oh, okay. Um, so, okay, now Alien Fiancé is a really good band, and I like to know, like, uh, how do you balance your acting career with being the lead vocalist of Alien Fiancé? And tell me about this guy. Like, what instrument
Oh,
does
my
he play
husband?
in the band?
Well, he can tell you. He's
Yeah.
the writer. He's the
Ah.
Yeah, because Sarah, besides her acting and other entertainment, she said she wanted to sing in a band. She hasn't done it before, so I said, okay, we could do that since I've been in band for many, many years. And so I said, we got to come up with some songs. So I said, wrote some particular songs. I mean, the first songs we tried to do together were just straight ahead old the rock and roll, Bo Diddley, Larry Williams um, songs, because that's where my roots are. And then we kind of stretched it out to a little more rock and roll, influenced by, like I said, all my favorite bands, whether it's Chuck Berry or Bo Diddley, going up
Oh
the
yeah.
Stones and Led Zeppelin or Aerosmith and White Stripes, whoever, or whatever popped into my head, basically, that I thought that had
So it
the
had
feel
the
that
word.
we were going for. And so I wrote it so for her to sing and singing myself, and her doing the percussion with tambourine and maracas, kind of like Jerome Green and the Bo Diddley band or early Mick Jagger and stuff. So that's what I turned into. And it's a lot of fun because I hadn't really written any songs for myself before. I had written them in a band experience with the other people that they had the singer that was coming up with the lyrics. So now I had to do it all, but it's really fun.
Yeah, no, it's great fun, and it's great. It's great because we can just do it whenever we feel like it.
Yeah.
It's not. There's no pressure, and I think like when you're creative, you don't really want this pressure of, okay, now it's practice time, and this is when we have to do it, and this is time that we have to do it. So it's more spontaneous, and it's more sort of like we're just doing it for fun and to express, you know, Paul has a lot of creative abilities with his guitar and writing, and so collaborating for me actually for the first time, because usually, in writing my books and doing my artwork, I sold my artwork all my life, and I'd always done it independently by myself. So to collaborate is really nice for me. I really enjoy it. I think it's nice, that we're able to do this together.
What is the story behind the name of your band, Alien Fiancé? Where did that come
Well,
from?
I mean, we had this crazy form that we thought we needed one night, and so it said it was called the Alien Fiancé form, and we thought it was
Yeah,
crazy when I moved
in the
here,
States, we had to,
but it
go through a bunch of stuff.
but it
And,
it totally was.
it was ridiculous that they were really adamant, the government going and saying, you have to fill this out, it had to be done within a certain amount of days.
But
And
we
it
were
cost
all,
a freaking fortune. These tubes, the fees.
but
And
we were all wrong about
I
it.
know, we sent it in and we did all that. And they said, we'll get back to you in like 6 months or 8 months or up to 2 years. And we were already married.
We got married before that, and on top of that, I've been a landed immigrant in America since the '78, because I came to America, and I moved to New York when I was younger. My mother, as I mentioned, was an actress that moved to New York, and so I moved to New York as well. And I actually began my acting career then. When I went to New York, I met with the casting director, Joy Todd, who was a casting director, and so it, I decided to move back to Toronto when I was working on a production with my mother in Toronto at the O'Keefe Center. So I ended up moving back, but I started things rolling in New York back then, a long, long time ago. Well, this was in the '80s when I was very young. So.
All right, so tell me about a lot of the songs that you write. What kind of genre are they in?
Like I said, we started out just playing great um, 50s blues style rock and roll. said Bo Diddley, Larry Williams, Boney Maroney, stuff like that. Then you kind of extended it on. Because basically all the music I've ever played, whether it was I was in a punk band or metal band or rock band, it's all basically been blues based. That's what I started listening to. I mean, like people ask you your favorite guitar players, it's like Chuck Berry, which is where most rock and roll bands came from, no matter how much they varied on it, stretched it, and twisted it. But so I just wrote songs that felt good to me to play. That's basically my style, was this rock and roll band. And then I had to come up with lyrics that, I mean, what I was feeling at the moment, which is, in the past 9 months or so, it's been a little hectic because I we started moving here, and then we've moved our residence 3 different times in the last, less than a year. And then with the climate of the political world now going on between America, Canada, and the rest of the world. So, I mean, some of the songs I wrote, one of them is called "It's Crazy Town," 'cause that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
And then another one's "On the Run," because you kind of feel like you got to watch your back because everything is coming at once now. And other one called "Hold On to What You Got," because that's all you have. When it all comes down to it, that's all we got.
Yeah.
So that's where my songs are coming from.
So when you write a song, you have your wife on your mind thinking, okay, I think she can handle this one. She'll do okay. Or you're like, no, I don't think her vocal range can reach that high. Okay, scratch it off. Let's do.
Sort of, yeah, because I'm singing the songs too. So, and she's singing like on the choruses and with me in backup and, tandem parts. So it just whatever works best.
Yeah. So whatever he's got me in mind. Like I'm honestly stepping into an area that is very new to me. I've honestly never played in a band before. I've been with musicians. My father was a musician. My father is a jazz musician, and he has CDs that are out. And I come from a history of people that were in the entertainment business in music, but not I myself. This is a real new area for me. So I'm letting Paul take the lead and I'm just going to do. You tell me this is what I got to do. When I do it, I'm in. I'll do it. I'm not going to start directing. I've done my own share of directing other things that are my things. This is something new for me. So I just have to kind of try, sometimes, if I have a suggestion, I'm almost afraid because I'm really not cool about it so much. I'm not, let's just say, like a newbie about it. And I just want to learn more about it myself. I want to be directed. Let's put it that way.
When you perform, do you have people come up to you and say, "I like that song. I want to know how to do this"? You make most of your friends and from fans. Like, how do you connect with fans?
Um, I've got a lot of previous fans from bands that I've been in.
Yeah.
I've been in bands in Portland, Seattle, and Los Angeles. So I'm kind of familiar. So people are going to come and see what I'm doing just because they're curious. Say, okay, let's see what he's up to now. And they'll be, they're all surprised because I do a lot of different things. And this is my newest. So that generates interest just through that.
Yeah. So
people, because, it's another thing which people think, oh, you got your wife in the band, it's great. But no, it's not.
What we do.
But, it's because we're writing the songs together. That's what it works. So
That it's
So you create a So your creative process for your songs, do you get inspired by what you do in life, or is it
Yeah,
part of
I mean,
experience?
the riff always comes first on the guitar. So, and then you got to play with that, and it's a feel because I mean, then you got to feel where that's coming from and what it can relate to. Because like many great guitar players have said before, like Jimmy Page and stuff, it's like I don't care about being technical. I come from the feeling, and the feel, and that's what's important to me. I've always just felt songs when I'm writing. You tell people, and you'll have a drummer or somebody like, how many times is that? Or how many beats per minute? Or how many before the change of the break? And I'm like, dude, can't you just feel it? It's just coming. You're playing, all of a sudden you just feel it. Here it comes, here it comes.
Right.
Boom.
Yeah.
And there it is. And some people don't work that way.
Sounds like
And
you're
me-
driving a standard
And
car.
me, I'm just totally organic. It's just like
Yeah.
whatever comes out. So I'm not counting.
If you wrote a song, Paul, that came from the deep recesses of pain and sorrow, do you feel that the actual emotional pain of the song is felt with someone that hasn't gone through that? You know, like for
Ideally,
instance,
that's the
Imagine
emotion. If that's what
Dragons.
you're trying to portray. You're hoping that everybody.
Like Imagine Dragons. So Dan Reynolds, the lead singer of Imagine Dragons, he wrote a song called "Wrecked," based on the death of his brother's wife, sister-in-law Alicia, from cancer. So he wrote a song about the deep recesses of pain he was feeling. But for someone to just sing that song, not realizing that it's from birth, from pain and death, and they haven't really gone through it, do you think the song is less effective?
Yeah, some people don't get it or they don't listen. I mean, lots of people just listen to music. They don't listen to the lyrics. Other people only listen to the words and might not get the whole feel of what's going on behind. I have not written anything coming from that deep well of that because I haven't experienced a lot of that. But if I did, I'm sure it would come across.
Mhm.
Um, or you try to make it come across,
Yeah.
and it'd be more into the guitar playing. I mean, rather than just because you gotta. That's the thing about a lot of songs. You can start, go, and finish, bang, 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 and not involve the people, the groove or the dynamics to get it across. 'Cause that's how you feel. I mean, you got a song that just goes from start to end, the same speed, the same beat. I mean, that's the only feeling you're going to come away with is, wow, that was fast. Because I go see bands that are like that, and I like it. It's sure it's great, but I mean, from for 45 minutes, you're like, come on, where's the variation?
Yeah.
Because you got to have the thing that drops out and brings people back in.
Yeah.
It's what yeah, and hopefully that's what you're trying for, and hopefully you can get the people back in.
Yeah.
People have short attention span,
Yeah, they do.
especially me. So,
Yeah, Paul, do you have a favorite guitar, like a Gibson, a Taylor, a
uh,
Stratocaster?
I
What's your favorite?
played Gibson guitars mainly for years and years and years.
Gibson.
That's Paul Jr.'s. And then I really got into Telecaster and Strat. I mean, I like all kinds because I've owned at one time I'll have 15 Gibsons, but then I'll have three Strats and three Tellys plus three Gretches. I mean, I bought a lot of guitars. Now it's pretty pared down.
Yeah, because since we've been moving
Yeah, yeah.
to place, we've had all these guitars. It's like, oh my God, we have to have a separate room for.
And also the financial situation. Too, just because there's a lot of money.
All right, Paul. I yeah, I have to know. Like, very first song, very first piece of music you played on guitar was "Smoke on the Water." No.
That I mean that was
Probably, right?
That was probably me because that riff. Well, every kid tries to play it, they play an E instead of A. But the riff to Lagrange by ZZ Top. But I think probably Louie Louie was actually the first.
Yeah, that's what he tried to teach me on bass. I think.
What's that?
Louie. And I got it eventually. Din, 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 din,
I mean, the
din,
story
din, din.
is the same pretty much for everybody. You know, you hear something and you're trying it out when you got a bed spring or something like that. You're going for a tennis racket. You're going ding, ding, ding on it, you know, before you have any real instruments. People are trying to. I just heard an interview with this guy yesterday, and they're a very young person who started. But this is the same story. I heard the Beatles, and I was playing on boxes, playing the drums with that until I heard Led Zeppelin and stuff like that. And that's somebody who was doing this in the late 90s and 2000s, but it's the same story going back to 1965.
And I was doing it on a candlestick to Charles Aznavour. Like when I was very, very young, you know, taking a candlestick and dancing around, you know, singing, gee, maybe the tea or feast, maybe the famine or the feast.
Because Charles wrote that song "She," which is the one that Elvis Costello sings on that movie Notting Hill.
I didn't know.
That's a cover. That's a cover, but Charles Aznavour sang that song
I know.
"She."
I
That's a
just
great
loved
song.
it when I was a kid. Yeah, I put the record on and danced to that.
But Elvis Costello he sings a really great cover. Yeah. So you ever thought that I'm going to surprise my wife, and then suddenly, Sarah, you're sitting in the kitchen, you come in with your Stratocaster, and you're playing Thunderstruck. Right over here. There you go, honey. Look what I learned.
Does that ever happen?
He hasn't played guitar yet.
I was just joking. I'll be neat.
I have the patience.
He's not teaching me. If I wanted to learn, I'd have to probably take online classes.
That's true. So let me guess. So how many members of your band are there? Just you and Paul and anybody else?
Out, and then to record or something, you need a drummer. So friends of mine to do that when it's necessary.
That's a good thing.
And or a bass player, I could play it myself. But yeah, I know a lot of musicians or friends I can pull off out of other bands or whatever it is to do it. We had a show scheduled for late in May that unfortunately we had to cancel it in Los Angeles because of conflicting other dates with her film roles.
Things that I was doing, we were going to be playing at the Whiskey a Go-Go, and that would have been really fun. But unfortunately, things just didn't work out that way because of things that I've been doing. And, you know, we just got back actually from filming last weekend in Nevada in the Desert Fiends, and I did a role. It was Desert Fiends 2, sorry. And that was a really fun role, and I was working with Eric Roberts, and that was a blast. And the whole
Julia's
brother, and it was a really fun time. And Paul was actually got a little role in there too, and it was an experience. I don't know if you've ever been to the desert before, but it was awesome. It was amazing. I have never seen anything like it. It was so incredibly beautiful and hot, but beautiful and bleak, but beautiful.
That's interesting. So talk about Desert Fiends. What about the experience working on there besides the hot desert? What is it? What else did you like about working with it?
The people were fantastic. Nicole Butler Vegas and Sean C. Phillips, the director, were awesome to work with. They were just really, you know, when it came to my scene with Eric, Sean was really cool and relaxed about it and decided, I'm not going to tell you what he decided, but he decided something on the spur of the moment. And I was like, oh my God, you want me to do that? But I did it, and it was fun. And I liked that he wanted me and Eric to improv more, you know, to get away from the lines that were originally there. and that was shocking too, and that was really cool too, because then I felt really comfortable doing my role, that I was more, right into it, as opposed to following a read, a script, and what I was supposed to say and how it was supposed to be. It was really nice. And Nicole Butler Vegas put so much into the film in terms of making people feel comfortable. There was an incredible lunch, and it was just very well put together and thought out. It was a great production.
What's your favorite genre to act in, and why? Is that your favorite genre in Desert Fiends, or would you
You
rather
know
do
what?
like
I just keep
drama?
getting these like horror movies, and I'm not a horror fan, honestly. I'm really not. I don't know why it's happening to me, but I guess it's my karma for watching all these horror movies when I was a little kid. It's all coming back to me now. I'm in them, and I stopped watching them because they were scaring me, and now I'm in them. So I don't know. My favorite genre would be comedy. I think comedy and romantic comedy is fun and funny, but this movie, Desert Fiends, is comedy. It's comedy horror, so it's cool. It was really, it's funny, it's hilarious, and actually, Desert Fiends 1, it's out, and we saw it the other night. It's crazy. It is so funny and so out of this world crazy. It's the whole, like, you're kind of like, what, like, what is going on here? Like, it's bizarre. Like, that's Sean for you. He's got this crazy wonderful sense of humor that makes it flow, and you're just kind of like, oh my god, this is too freaking much. It's great.
That's just funny. So, like, you say you don't like horror films, but you're in Desert Fiends, you're in Skate to Hell, where you played a vlogger, you're in Friday the 13th Blood Loss, and Rebel Bikers versus Vampires from Venus. What the
I know. I just you can, it sort of goes to show you got to take what you can get. I guess, but also, I these particular movies are a little on the quirky, funny side, so that's where I fall into them. They're not dun 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 horror horror horror. They're not thriller killer horror. Kind of things.
I mean, they have a shock value, but it's pretty funny.
Yeah, funny shock, really. Yeah, totally.
It's not like that. Teet, 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 teet.
Yeah, not a little bit, but it's made really well, funny and you'll see if you watch, you can get Desert Fiends 1 on Blu-ray and DVD and Apple TV, and where else was that? YouTube, and you'll see that the way it's filmed, it's kind of like 70s, right? It's really odd. It's really well done.
Just looking like the B movie horror. Yes.
Yeah, you were also assistant
Yeah, I
producer on
kind of
that film
threw
too.
some stuff in there, but it doesn't mean anything. Honestly, it doesn't make me like assistant producer. I mean, it did, but you know what I mean.
Okay, guys, you can cancel that contract for Sarah Jillian to play Terminator 10. Forget it.
Yeah, yeah,
Just
really.
kidding.
Oh, is it? But you know what? It's all involvement in filmmaking, so that's cool.
So, what kind of character is Daedalus Melon? Can you talk about that? Rebel Bikers versus
Oh yeah,
Vampires from Venus,
that was
which is upcoming. Are you
well, I
allowed
mean, the
to?
movies should be out. I mean, I think I'm allowed to. It was done by Warren Fulton. He was the director on that, and that was really cool because we could use Paul's got bikes like Harleys, and so we were able to do a scene on the bike, and we had some photographs that he needed, and it was my role in that film is an artist that's living in Seattle and talking to her friends because she can't make it to their wedding. So it's kind of it's just a brief little thing, but it was kind of fun. It was apparently I might be getting a little more on that film. I'm not sure. I haven't heard back. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if we should talk about it, but I just kind of did.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if Warren wants me to or not. I haven't heard back from him. So hey, Warren.
It's still in fun.
I don't know. It's still in production.
Shout
I
out
think
to
it's
Warren.
still filming.
So, what about when you played Terry in Arthur Steinberg? You played Terry in one episode. Tell me
Oh,
about
that
that
was like
character.
crazy. I mean, he was the most bizarre director ever to work with, but he was fun, and the character was off the wall totally. It was almost, he said I was like somebody from Seinfeld, the crazy character. Who's the guy who comes in and out very quickly? Kramer. He said I was like a female Kramer from Seinfeld, because again it was a reality. It was supposed to be really who I was, but it wasn't. But so I was supposed to be this kind of off the wall, kooky character. So it was kind of fun.
And then in Steinberg Rides Again, you portrayed Toronto Tony.
Yeah, again, it was the same off the wall type of character that I just, I was like, Steinberg, you're supposed to be a certain way. I was a little more of a friend to him because it was supposed to be a reality show. So I played a character that was his almost confidant, like, in a way.
That's interesting. Always just giving you horror movies. But there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing. You might one day strike it rich and become like the Bond girl or something. You never
Hopefully.
know.
Green.
Yeah. But you can't act unless I act, because I won't want anybody play your husband except me. Sarah? How do you approach playing characters with complex emotional arcs?
Well, I've had some of those auditions where I've been up to doing that type of character. And how do I approach it? You have to find those emotions inside you. You have to tap into the things that have happened to you in your life, I suppose, that you can take that character, that part of that character that you've already lived a little bit, and bring it into that moment, I guess.
Yeah, like I mentioned before, like crying. Like if you had to cry, how would you do that? Make it
Well, I
believable.
would tap into something that is emotionally, upsetting for me in my mind, and bring it out in my whole being. I think that I think that that's acting. I mean, that's, I guess. I guess it can be done because you just take a segment in your life and relive it to the uttermost moment. Yes.
So do you like have a favorite memory from your time on Arthur Steinberg? Something that
With
really hits
Arthur
home?
Steinberg, with Steve Oakley. Um, it was crazy. I mean, we did actually a third film that he didn't release, and it was a lot of fun because we got a friend of mine, Max Ash, who runs a program in upstate New York. It's a rock and roll show, and it was rock and roll podcasts, and he also does Midnight Madness, which is part of a radio series that runs rock and rollers all night long. And so the idea was that Steve was going to have a segment that was on Max's show, and he was going to have myself and him on Max's show, and then it would be on Steinberg's show. So that was kind of fun. I really liked that. Was enjoyable to work with Max.
How has your training at Maggie Bassett Studios shaped your career?
Well, Maggie Bassett Studio, I did a lot of movement and breathing exercises and things that working with other actors on roles. But I think that how it's shaped my career, I think that life has shaped my career. I don't know. I think that every element of my life has shaped my career because I can draw from all of that. If I'm drawing from Maggie Bassett Studio, the only thing I would draw from that was probably breathing. I mean, we were doing a lot of breathing exercises.
Yeah, you would have to do that, I think. I spoke to many who send. Do you when you do auditions? Do you send in audition tapes? Or do you do it live?
Both. I've done both. I hate really. I mean, it's really nice to meet people, face on when you're doing an audition. But the way they do it now is they're not even looking at you; they're looking at a screen, and you're not even remembering your lines as I am a trained actress to do. They have it on a teleprompter, so they ask you to read them from the teleprompter instead of you saying your lines. And they're not looking at you, they're looking at you on a screen. So it's very different because when I was younger, going to auditions, you would walk into a room with a director, producer, and they would just, look at you and you'd say, they might want you to do a monologue, but it was different, very different.
How did the SAG after strike affect you? Did it affect you in
Not,
any way?
not really, because I'm not a member. I haven't become a member yet of SAG.
Did that get you bigger roles? Probably less horror ones, at least. Maybe more drama.
You're probably you're probably
RuPaul! Oh!
probably right, but I've been told by a lot of people, and during the pandemic, when I really decided to get back into acting, the roles were not SAG, and then there was the strike, and a lot of people were saying to me, "Don't do it now. Don't get into SAG because there's so many more roles for people that are not members."
Okay, Sarah, I'm going to ask you this question. Part of why the SAG after strike happened, one of them was body scanning and AI. So, what are your thoughts on body scanning and AI?
It's awful. I mean, honestly, it's taking away from people in the industry. I mean, why, if you can create these images that aren't even the people doing it, and that's horrible. I think it's horrible. I think it's terrible. I mean, for, AI probably has its place somewhere, but taking over people's roles, that's scary as hell.
It is. It is. But one day you're going to probably see a movie with Tom Cruise acting alongside Jimmy Stewart. So, you know, you can't do anything
No.
about it.
And it's kind of scary when you hear about, what was it, like Michael Jackson had a concert that was AI. Like,
A holographic,
yeah, like
yeah. And ABBA did the same thing, yeah.
crazy. It's
It's ridiculous, but you give the people what they want. People
Yeah.
still want to see Michael Jackson, so
Yeah.
if they fake it, then they will.
It's like,
They can
Yeah.
make money on it. So
Yeah. I don't know how his family felt
yeah.
about that. Really.
Sarah, is there really, it's like a dream role you hope to play in the future, one that will totally ultimate tell everyone I am a good actress, this is who I am?
I think I would really,
And the remake of the Titanic.
yeah. I could only do that. I really, I really would love a lead character that is a very strong character because I think throughout my life I've I see myself as being a little on the strong side. So I think that would be really fun and I something that I'd fit into and do a great job at. And I I really want to do, I want to be able to perform the best I can, I guess.
You got yeah, with all emotion and credibility. How do you stay grounded and motivated in such a competitive
I know it
industry?
sucks. It's so competitive. I think, you just have to stay grounded by, reality of what you are doing aside from it. You have to stop it and live your life like a normal person and do stuff that's normal and not be all wrapped up in it all the time. I try and, in the morning I do a lot of, exercises that keep me in shape physically, but mentally you have to be able to separate yourself from the work part of it and just be real. And honestly, I'm not putting the entertainment world down, but it's not so real. And life is real. And what you have to really that's what is really important to me. And that's how I keep grounded is by separating it and living my life with my dog, my husband, and just being real.
Well, being real, so you went from radio, then you went to acting, then you went to playing in a band. You're doing all these things, but now you're an author writing a book, and your first book called um, "Did I Really Dream Last Night?" and it was written under your pen name Sarah Paleshi. Can you tell us what inspired you to write that book? Did I really dream last night?
Well, it's funny because we had this cat at the time. My son was younger, and the cat was bothering my son at night, and my son wasn't sleeping very well. And then I had this dream one morning about the cat, and I was in the middle of working out, and I thought, did I really dream last night that my cat was, and I started thinking about all these really bizarre things, and I thought, oh my God, that is a children's story. That is really crazy, and so
Hmm.
I ran home and I wrote it all down and put it I started illustrating it, within days and got it finished within a couple of months and got an agent and got it out. Well, actually, I went to libraries and I read the first book or two to a couple of children well, it wasn't actually a couple of children, it was the whole freaking school. I ended up reading to the whole school my books just so that I get a feedback on if they liked it. And the first time that I read it through, the children were so happy to they were so responsive and they were laughing and rolling around on the carpet and I turned around to the girl that was helping me and I started crying and I sort of felt like okay, I can die now because I've been able to accomplish what I wanted in this world and that was to make children happy and they did. They were happy and it was a great sense of accomplishment I felt. And so I pursued it and I was able to get 3 books from my series of 6 out on Amazon. And I was in the bestseller list for a while. And it did really well, but that was a while ago. And now I've got 3 in that series that weren't published yet and haven't been. And now I've worked on other stories as well. So now I'm on to this other series with the book about Prince from the Beach.
The Prince from the Beach. Tell us
Well,
about
that's
that one.
about my dog, really, because he's he's a real character. I mean, this dog is the most silliest dog you've ever met. And so I wrote this story about him, and it's a story about a dog that I don't really want to tell you the whole plot, but I will say that it too has sort of my offbeat comedy in it, and he is something to follow because he's a little silly. And
It's
he was, yeah,
interesting.
and he's a dog that I rescued from Trinidad from the beach, and he seems to have a lot of stories to tell.
That's amazing. You're writing all these children's books, uh, and then you like have a book about a cat. You have a book about a dog. You're really inspiring. It seems like I want to get my stuff out there too. I have a lot of ideas. Maybe write a book about my cat Hannah. She's a black cat. There's this guy I forget the author's name, but he wrote a book called "How Do You Know Your Cat's Going to Kill You?" And it's got a picture of a black cat on the cover, and apparently it gives you ideas of, like, I'm thinking I should read it because sometimes I see the cat sitting there, looking at me like this, and I'm like, "Hi, okay, I gotta go." You know?
The cats are, yeah. Well, and my series is really about. I mean, the first one is about a little boy whose father is the owner of a zoo. So every year he gets a different animal for his birthday. And so it's for a cat, and then a puppy, and then a horse, and then a hamster, and then a bird. So it goes up to he's 6 years old, and he keeps getting these animals, but they keep disturbing his sleep, so he gets these wacky dreams. Does my cat really um, vacuum up all the socks? Just like really, or give birth to baby ducks, or just drive an airplane, or and then I put in as well things like, does my cat really work in a soup kitchen, and does my horse really give blood, or does my dog really, they were all sort of like, things that animals were doing to help society. Was it my puppy that ran in the March for Peace, World Peace? Like all these, I kind of threw in a little bit of, that. And then the moral of those stories is you can make any dream come true, because he says to his mother at the end, this little boy at the end, his parents, he says to his mom and dad, can I really make any dream come true? And they're like, of course you can make any dream come true. And he thinks in his head, really? Like, because he had all these bizarre dreams. So he's thinking, really? I can make any dream come true? So that's sort of the moral of those stories.
I was thinking of writing a book called "The Land of the Lost Socks." People say that they always take one sock out to dry and have no idea where the other one is. Well, make a story where they actually go to this land where all the lost socks
Oh,
are,
that's a
and
good,
the
good,
whole
good.
and the whole story is that you're trying to find another pair. You're trying to take a red sock, and you're trying to find another red sock. You pair it. So that's basically what you do, and then you return it to the owners. I don't know, kind of silly story.
That's actually catchy.
Everyone can relate.
Yeah, yeah. It's usually everything. It's relating to something, and that's cool.
So what do you think of people using AI to write full books and selling them and making money? Do you think that's fair?
Wow, that sucks too. That's terrible.
And I mean, they'll get better. But, you can always tell now because there's everywhere there's AI written music reviews, band reviews, movie reviews, or just advertisements. But the language is still a little clunky. It's pretty easy to tell.
It's true, but it's possible to write a whole book
Yeah,
or a
it
whole
will get
novel and then
better
just go
the
through it
more
and
they do it.
edit it yourself and stuff. Would it still be yours or no?
Well, I mean, how could it be? I mean, you know, I remember talking to a friend of mine who was an artist, and I said, she said, "Oh yeah, I'm doing a show," and I said, "Oh, that's great." And, yeah, I'm doing it really quickly, but that's okay because I got AI helping me, and I'm like, what? Like art? Oh my God, you seriously are not coming up with these ideas? I didn't say that, but I was like blown away. Like, oh my God, that is disgusting. Like, I'm sorry, but it really is. If you're an artist, it comes from inside you. It doesn't come from a computer's AI. Like, that's
Okay.
upsetting to me. That's
What if I wake?
you know.
Okay, yeah, I know. What if I wake up in the morning? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt
No,
you. Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
My. What if you suddenly wake up and you have this idea for a character? You're like, what do I do with him? And then you say, yeah, I have this character. I woke up. This is what he does. Blah blah. So can you write a story about him? Would that
No,
be okay? No.
I I I personally, would it be okay with you?
No, I mean, you could write a story, run it through the AI, just have them correct it or whatever. I mean, it's a
Okay.
tool, but it's not a replacement for imagination, feeling, heart, emotion, whatever. Um, just having it, just here, you take it and run with it, and then claiming it as your own. It's not.
I just take. It's
There's
not.
no integrity.
Yeah, it's not coming from the soul of the artist, and that's what an artist is. It's just, and I think there's a lot of like phonies out there because of that type of technology. If you're, I don't think that's real. I think that's real, and it kind of pisses me off too. I know, because it's kind of like, but what?
It's become the reality.
It is the reality, but it's like,
What's real?
yeah, I know. I guess.
Which is like,
When you
what
wrote
did
those books, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Sarah, when you wrote those books, like, like, what authors or books have influenced you to write those?
your
Well,
favorite book?
well, I know. I did have a favorite book when I was growing up called The Little Prince, and
Me too. I love
isn't
that
that an
book.
incredible book? And the morals. There was a moral behind that, and it really moves me to think that I try to to sort of keep that that feeling of child child feeling when I'm writing. I try, and my illustrations are very, I do line type drawings, very similar to that author. And I've never, people say, that's your translation of a person. Yeah, it's not real. It's just my interpretation of a person. It's not, it, it doesn't have, it's not real, features or whatever. But as far as like story goes, I actually wrote another story after going to Costa Rica called Up in the Trees, about all the animals from Costa Rica, because I was really blown away by how beautiful the Costa Rica was, and all the animals were so incredibly out there, and wherever you go there was like, these beautiful birds, and uh, just these strange animals in Costa Rica running around the forest that were part like cat, dog. I don't know. They had all these crazy names, but I went home and I studied, each animal. And when I wrote the book, it was Up in the Trees about the animals. And also, I'd been drawing. This is really odd, but I've been drawing palm trees all my life, and I had never seen a real palm tree. So when I went to Costa Rica for the first time, I was like, oh my God, they were so beautiful. And I couldn't help but get inspired. So that's where that book came from. That particular book it sort of went kind of on the back shelf. I haven't published or gotten that out, but I think that too is a kind of learning experience for kids, because then they could read that and say, wow, like all those animals are in Costa Rica. That's pretty cool.
What advice would you give to aspiring actors, producers, um, band members, singers, songwriters, and authors?
I would just say go after your dream and don't let nobody stop you in terms of telling you you can't do it or why are you doing it. Don't listen to anybody. Listen to your heart and just go after it, and just don't let anybody stop you. If that's what you want to do, you really have to do it. Just do it, and don't listen to any. I mean, you really have to just go after your own dreams and don't listen to anybody else's dreams of what they expect you to do.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sarah. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Paul. Really nice to meet you. Um, really special to get you on the podcast and bring someone else with you. That was kind of like, that made my day. Thank you so much for that. Everything will be linked down below, everyone, including how to get her books, how to get just all the information about her. She's actually a pretty good actress. You should, like, amazing.
Thank you so much.
And yes. One more question. If you were going to be stranded on a desert island and allowed to take 3 or 4 books with you, what books would you bring?
Well, of course, The Little Prince, and probably Ulysses, because my parents always said you better read this, and I never did. And you read it? And my parents would like that. And another book, The Cat in the Hat Came Back.
Okay, so thank you so much, Sarah, Jillian, being on our podcast. Really appreciate it. And everyone, thank you for joining us today. It's been a pleasure sharing insights in the fascinating journey of Sarah, Jillian, and Paul, of course, from her dynamic performances on screen to creative endeavors in music and literature. Sarah continues to inspire and captivate audiences worldwide. We hope you enjoyed learning more about her incredible career and passion. Stay tuned for more exciting updates and projects from Sarah, Jillian.
Thank you so much. Thank you.